Hello, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars show.
Do you want to go to Dubrovnik and see some Star Wars pictures? Where's Dubrovnik? Croatia. You've been there, haven't you?
I've been to Croatia. I went to the Game of Thrones set. Also, when I was there, I came back from Dubrovnik, or Split, which is nearby.
Yeah.
I told Mum's like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "I was in Split." And Mum's went, "Oh, that's nice. That's where you were conceived."
How does she know? So why are we talking about this? What's happening in Dubrovnik? This is where they're filming Star Wars.
Yeah, there's loads and loads of lead set pictures. People on the hollybobs of people who live there are taking pictures, and they're everywhere now. We haven't run the stories on IGN because we actually respect copyright. Well, you wouldn't know that by watching the show. You should.
Okay.
You're the one who edits the video.
In my head, I was like, these going straight in.
No, yeah, so we can't use them.
But you recognise the street, didn't you, from Dubrovnik?
Yeah, there's like a central square where they film a lot of Game of Thrones, a lot of King's Landing.
Right.
So we're not going to go into specifics what's in the pictures, because if you're watching the show, you probably like Star Wars, and you might be avoiding those pictures. And I actually saw some this week that I didn't want to see. Like, there's some that are going around that are just sets, but I saw some the other day that had characters, central characters, doing things.
No way.
Yeah. Which I definitely do want to say. So we're going to talk about whether, because this movie's 2 years out nearly. Okay. This is only going to get worse. Do you think? Like, I guess they're doing all their on-location shooting now.
Yeah.
Maybe when they go on soundstage, it'll stop somewhat. But do you think this is ruining Episode 8, or is it just an inevitability?
It's a massive inevitability. Star Wars is the biggest thing in the world. Like, of course it's inevitable. It's going to be. Yeah. Like, I feel like there's no way. I don't know. There is kind of a way of avoiding it because you could be filming other stuff. But I feel like I've seen loads of Wonder Woman, Doctor Strange. There's always like set pictures of like, I don't know. I never really get anything from them. Yeah, like, because it's always really grainy. It's always from some guy like up in.
But they're not always really grainy now. Like, people have iPhones and really good phones on their cameras. And like,
but if you zoom in on an iPhone, it still looks shite.
Yeah, but there's a lot of these pictures are pretty good if you've seen them, and you've seen loads of different alien types. I've seen
there's an alien in a tux. Why are aliens wearing tuxes? Where are they going?
Exactly. Now for the next 6 months we're going to be debating why an alien is wearing a tux.
That's all I got in my
head. And you were saying
now.
An alien can't wear a tux, which is
depends on the alien.
Speciesist.
Depends on the alien. Well, it's weird to see an alien wearing a tux. What are you doing?
I think
it's weird to see an alien wearing a tux, though, isn't it?
I think it's weirder to see an alien.
Yeah, that's weird. But like,
I don't think if I see an alien land on Earth wearing a tux, my first thought is going, "What are you wearing?"
But they do have. I guess they do have like special clothes and things like that. But it was just like a black suit with like a shawl or cape or whatever. And I just thought
he's gone to the opera.
If I lived in space, if I was an alien, I think I'd be able to come up with something maybe a little bit better than a tux.
But what you've forgotten
an orb of water.
But what you've forgotten is you do live in space.
Huh?
As much as that alien, it's all relative, Gav.
Oh yeah.
You live on a planet, and we've fashioned the tuxedo. Yeah. What if Bruce Wayne is the disguise?
Do I think this will spoil Star Wars?
Yeah. Maybe it's because of the picture I saw.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean
it's something that it looks like Finn is doing.
Oh god.
And it's just like, it's not a huge spoiler, but it's just like, it would have been nicer to have seen that in the context of the film. It's my fault for looking at them, but I thought it was going to be no more than some doorways and some extras. I didn't expect to like see central characters doing things.
Yeah, I think there's a super famous one from ages ago, before we knew who was playing anybody, where it looked like Adam Driver in a sort of rebel pilot outfit. Is obviously was his chops, Oscar Isaac, not Adam Driver. But it was kind of this thing like, you know, I think we probably did a show on it, which is like Adam Driver is going to be an amazing pilot in Rebel. I don't know what we call it, whatever we call our videos, but. I don't know, some part of me really likes it because it's just like speculating and things like that. But then if you do see, like, imagine if you saw like, you know, a leaked picture of the bridge scene from Force Awakens.
Yeah. Also, I'm fully aware of the inherent, you know, kind of, you know, we're as much as fault of this. Right? We're hypocrites, really. Yeah. Because we've definitely done episodes where we're minutely analysing trailers and stills.
Yeah.
So this kind of fuels the hunger for things like this. But I just don't want this for the next year.
But I feel like with that, when we're analysing like official stills and official trailers,
officials are different, but it still creates a insatiable desire to see as much as you possibly can and eke out more.
That is true. But with official stuff, we're part of the journey that the filmmakers want us to go on. Like, we're not seeing anything before we're meant to be seeing it. And I think that makes a big difference to me.
Yeah. I think that's true. It's weird, actually, because some people think even officially released stuff is a spoiler.
People go mad for that,
like through the week when they show John Berthel with the skull on his chest with Punisher. It's like, spoiling it.
Yeah.
Netflix put it out. You know what character he's playing.
Yeah.
And it's like, we live in an age where anything can be a spoiler. We've talked about that as well.
Well, this is the thing. Like
everyone's so spoiler phobic.
But then I kind of got into shit on the site when I interviewed J.J. Abrams, and I asked J.J. Abrams, what leads Kylo Ren to turn to the dark side? Like, why is he so obsessed with the dark side? And people thought that was a spoiler. Because they're like, oh, you told us to turn to the dark side. The dude has a big red lightsaber, and he's obviously a bad person. And so
he's obviously gone to the dark side at some point. He was born as a child.
But then people thought that was a spoiler, do you know what I mean? Then we also got accused of, look, in the thumbnail, we had a picture of him that was from, like, Variety. Was it Variety? Entertainment, yeah. Like, we had that picture, which was in their cover issue, and we used that as a thumbnail, and people were like, oh, I hadn't seen him without his mask. You spoiled that for me,
it's like one of the first images released of Adam Driver.
Yeah.
And I think by the time the film came around, even though we used that image before on site,
people maybe forgotten about it. Yeah.
And because it was weaker release, like, things that were already in the public domain kind of become spoiler charged again.
Well, maybe that's something we can ask you guys. Like, what do you think is a spoiler? What do you think counts in your world as a spoiler? Right? Maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode. But let us know. Rebel Base.
No one get loads of stuff spoiled for us.
Oh yeah, no.
When I found this out, I didn't want to know the end of Justified. I'm only on season 2.
Be very vague, because remember, we see stuff. we see and play stuff before you do. So if you spoil something for me, it'll get my go up, and I'll just email you everything that happens in Batman versus Superman. That'll happen. But let us know what you think is a spoiler. rebelbase@ign.com. What else is going on this week? VR. VR's big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite big. We had a price for the Sony VR headset.
Yeah.
But also, we found out that they're making Star Wars experiences. Lucasfilm are investing in VR.
Huge.
Big time.
Massive. So it's a company called ILM X Lab, and they're basically chucking all this stuff behind making immersive experiences in the Star Wars universe. So we had 2 different things, right? Very close together. But, so we, at Sony's VR conference, they said that there's a Star Wars Battlefront VR experience coming, whatever that is. So is that just you're going to be able to play Battlefront in VR a little bit?
I think it'd be more adapted.
Yeah.
Every time I've spoken to VR developers, they've always said that there's quite a lot of genres that don't just work if you port it, and like shooters is one of them. I can imagine. I think that's one that's quite high for the old nausea.
I think like a massive thing that people need to, and seems like ILM X Lab are really getting behind and doing it in the right way, is referring to this stuff that you experience in VR as experiences rather than games.
Yeah.
Because I have to say, like, when we came back from Paris Games Week, I experienced a bunch of VR stuff. And that's what it is. It's not, it's good, there's good fun and stuff like that, but people talking about it in terms of like, oh yeah, but are you going to be able to sit down and play like, 20 hours in Fallout in VR?
Yeah.
Probably not. You have to think about it like that. I see them
as like rides or like little 20-minute things.
Kind of, yeah. And this is kind of what this thing, so it's called Tatooine Trials, and Mitch played it actually. And basically, the way he described it was you're Skywalker's apprentice, you're interacting with Han and Chewie, you see a giant Millennium Falcon from the air, which is obviously to scale.
Yeah.
So if you're a person, you see the Millennium Falcon
landing above you.
That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, it's just the sound's pretty amazing as well.
Yeah. Well, if you think they've got all of those like that Lucasfilm just archives of stuff, and I think like we talked about this before, where the sound in Star Wars is such a massive part of it. Like, just if you hear like a TIE fighter or something like that, like just hearing that noise takes you to a very specific place in your mind. And with games, and if you're wearing a big VR helmet and you're really immersed, you've got the headphones on, and you hear some Star Wars stuff, that's gonna be pretty damn exciting.
Also, what I thought was particularly cool about this is they said that these, it's very easy to say we've made a VR experience and it's like this kind of incidental throwaway thing. They actually said it's a canon thing. Like
right.
They're approaching this like these will be canonical.
Good.
So they're not just kind of like little thin entertainments to get a bit of attention. It's like, this is cool stuff, and we believe in this platform and this technology enough to say this is canon.
Yeah.
Rather than just going, it's kind of a little Star Wars thing.
Yeah. But imagine that, though. That's the thing that I thought of instantly was, people are going absolutely crazy. They're going to go back and start filling in gaps with films, and like they're going to cast a young Han Solo any day now. Like, rather than do that, make it in VR. If you want to tell a cool little Han Solo story, like, you can use his voice, you can use like, or sound alikes that sound a lot more like him than look like him.
It's like when they always used to make a cartoon out of a film that you used to really love. It's like, it's not quite the same, but it's close enough.
Or video games as well. And I think like if you can go back and be like, you tell a little story, because like one of the things that I always think, and I watched Empire again recently, was Luke's training seems to take. Like, if depending on what school of thought, like people say it's like 7, a couple of weeks, but actually the other stuff that's going on happens in a couple of days. So I think like you could easily in a Tatooine trials. What are you doing? Jedi trials, exactly. Boom, done. Fill in the gaps with VR.
That's your fill it in with VR.
Fill it in with VR.
That's become your answer for everything.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Gav, you put your data in the spreadsheet. Fill it in with VR.
But I think you could do that. You could do all these cool little stories that are going on outside, like stuff like the comics and things like that. And you could do it. You could experience it yourself.
The only problem with that is how much do you want to put these kind of. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing with VR. It's like if the experiences and the software isn't there, like that will never drive massive sales ultimately. But then, how much can you go all in on making these big things for a platform that might not have a massive install base? That's the age-old question with any new technology. It's like you want them to go awesome, and it sounds like they are supporting it.
Yeah.
Because if they keep making these Star Wars experiences, that is a massive compelling reason to a big audience. It might be the thing that pushes you over the edge. You're like, I really like a VR headset. It's quite pricey. I might play that. And then if you're a Star Wars fan, it's like, that's another cool thing I can get. They're going to put one of these out.
You're going to find out about Luke's training and how long it specifically took.
Yeah.
Get it bought.
I'm going to be sitting around while the Millennium Falcon lands. Do that every week.
Yeah, exactly.
Get them on Fridays.
You said, but I can kind of see your point where they're not going to invest loads of stuff and be like, how many people have actually bought this VR headset and going to actually experience the story?
Wouldn't be a success.
Yeah, well, I guess, that's the thing with any kind of like newish technology. Before people actually start doubling down on it, they've got to realize that it's actually pretty good. And I think like, I am a massive Nintendo fan, and I felt that for years, where you really just wanted a developer to just get behind Nintendo and be like, I love what you're doing. I love the Wii U. I love the 3DS. Like, we're going to make loads of cool little games with it. Never happened.
Connect.
Like, exactly, yeah. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And then like, things happens where the plug gets pulled. The danger with that, the new stuff is, if the plug gets pulled and the maker stops supporting it, then as a developer, you got all in on making a Kinect game, and you're like, Kinect's no longer going to be a thing. It's not going to be in the box.
Like,
oh my God.
You could have told me, Kudo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it'd be pretty good to see what they do with it. But Mitch has said this. I really want to play this VR tattoo intro thing. Sounds really good. And the ILM guy said that we want to make a lot of stories. And I think if he's mentioned like the thing of going like doing these episodic stories. Maybe that's a way of doing it, because if you're working on these little episodes, we'll work on a little episode.
Episode 8.
Like, if people buy it and people get into it, then we'll make some more. Not committing to this 40-hour story or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's the one way to go for it.
$2.99 little thing you can just do.
That's the thing with VR initially. When you first get one, when this will happen for the first 6 months. Anytime someone comes around your house,
absolutely.
Do you want to see the Millennium Falcon landing beside you?
Absolutely.
That's almost a really good thing in the first 6 months, where it will determine on if you buy one because your friend has one, and you go around to the house going, that's really cool, I like that.
It's a really good. Hopefully this is still going, but there was a while back. I think we actually met at one, like the thing the Bossa Studios used to do here in London. They used to do like a monthly VR meetup where they basically invite a load of people who are just developers and people interested in VR into their studios to have a couple of beers, and they'd have like presentations from like 3 VR people, and like sometimes it was the worst thing ever, whatever someone was working on. You kind of just want to go up to them and be like, Stop
Never do this
what you're doing. Like, don't put any more money into this. Sometimes it was really good though, and like there was this one guy I remember. He'd made this really cool 360-degree filming of a motorbike. Did you see that one? No. And he basically had covered this guy in GoPros, sent him around Brands Hatch, the circuit, on a motorbike, and filmed the entire thing. So you stick the Oculus on, and you're on the back of this bike. But you can look every single, so you can experience Brands Hatch from 360 degrees, hurtling down like 110 miles an hour. It was brilliant. And afterwards, we were all talking to him, and there was me and another VR developer, and we were like, this is really good. And the guy was like, oh, do you like it? Got a USB. He was like, yeah, you can just copy onto this if you want. Like, there's that kind of community with VR where people are making all these little cool things. So I hope when it actually gets into people's houses and stuff, that sort of open market source thing still exists, because stuff like that is really, really good.
Yeah, because at the moment it's felt a bit hobbyist.
Yeah,
for some developers, like experiment with it.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be interesting, like when some major players get involved.
Exactly, like me, major players like me. I'm gonna make myself a VR story. Imagine this in VR. Because it's pretty much exactly the same.
What, like
people come around here?
Like you sat over there looking at us?
Yeah, could be.
What are you getting from that?
All right. Now,
we got to see what's under the table.
Really, really important stuff. We finally know what Tsum Tsums are.
Yeah.
Are they called Tsum Tsums? I hope so. What? This is a Tsum Tsum.
That's
apparently.
a Tsum Tsum.
That's a Tsum Tsum.
Is it Tsum Tsum or Tsum Tsum?
I don't know.
I know they're a Japanese stackable plush.
I've been saying Tsum Tsum, like Tsum Tsum Tsum.
Noob.
Is that what they sell it on? Stackable plush?
Yeah, well, it's one of the factors.
They stack a bit, but I wouldn't say that that's one of the like big things about it.
Well,
like a mug can stack on top of another mug, but I wouldn't call them stackable.
Yeah, but you forget about the mug. It has another primary use.
So what is this?
It's not a drinking receptacle.
Looking cute.
Yeah, I think they're very cute.
So this is what Tsum Tsums are.
Yeah,
good.
It's got like little beads inside them on the bottom, so they're weighted,
like,
so they're meant to like go downwards like that. This is an absolute phenomenon that I'm just kind of finding out about.
Yeah, well, the other week we did a segment of this show, which was what the hell is a Tsum Tsum, and now we know it's a little beanbag thing.
Yeah, so you can get these in a range of Disney and Marvel characters. You can get like Guardians of the Galaxy and other Disney characters, and these are the Star Wars range. Which is your favourite? I think I know which your favourite is.
Chewie, it looks like me. Just furry.
Fuzzball.
Yeah, they're cute. How much are they? Like £3.
I think they're about £3-4 each.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get massive ones as well.
What's that? $5?
You can get absolutely huge ones.
Probably not for me.
Well, you like Japanese stackable plushes.
I like Japanese stackable plushes. Yeah, that is true. I sound like just a robot there saying it back. They're really fun, but like when you see something as an older gent, when you see something and you just go, what is life? What is this world? Who's liking them? Like, because I just can't see what the point of it is. Like Joe, who's just started coming with us, like his girlfriend collects them. And just like...
Oh, well, I, as a man who owns a lot of toys and collectible vinyl figures, none of them serve a practical function.
I could put Chewie on my shoulder.
But, see, you know what the point of this is?
What?
You sit on your desk in the morning, make you happy.
Yeah, it probably would actually.
Make you happy, and that's the point of toys.
And that's the point of Tsums. Right, let's get on to some force feedback then. Do you know what? I've got the best bit of force feedback. Involving...
Gav the best.
Involving all muggins here.
What?
Because... Guess who favorited one of my tweets the other day?
Who?
Luke Skywalker.
Did he now?
Not like Luke Skywalker, like a bot, like who's set up to reply to all of Luke Skywalker's tweets. Yeah. But Mark Hamill himself favorited one of my tweets. You having that?
It's pretty good. He's quite active on there.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
He retweets a lot of stuff.
Also, he replies to a lot of people. So I was pretty hungover on a Sunday morning, and
you got the least engaging.
And what happened was he was talking to people. Basically, lots of people were saying to him, "Say something in Mexican, say something in French, say something in," and he was basically replying to them in that language. And I was like, I wonder if he knows any Welsh, because I don't know if you know I'm Welsh. So I replied to him saying, do you know any Welsh words? And he just favorited the tweet. Didn't say anything. But he did favorite it. So he literally knows I exist. That's mental. Luke Skywalker knows I exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a fact. That's just a fact of life now. That's canon. That's actually canon.
I debate whether it's actually a piece of force feedback.
Why? Feedback.
He's not written in though, has it? It's not like Mark Hamill.
Doesn't know the address.
Written in.
He doesn't know the address.
Tell him in.
Rebelbaseagent.com.
Now that you're all mates with him.
Can you imagine if we got him on the show? What would he talk to him about? Star Wars, probably.
You
probably
probably
ask him
got,
about
do you know anything
episode
Welsh?
8.
Do you want some?
I would crowbar, I think, I would crowbar so much Welsh stuff into it. Like, and then go back to Wales a hero. Be like, yeah, I got Luke Skywalker to say diolch yn fawr.
Like how your Sacha Baron Cohen thing on Wales Online.
Yeah. Hey, Wales Online is a website.
Wales is now online.
Just because they haven't got a Blackburn online. One day. But you have got PlusNet broadband, so...
You've confused your entire country
with
one town in England.
Probably the same size.
Says it all.
Anyway, let's get on to some...
real feedback.
I was about to say actual, but no. Other force feedback. So you go first, go on.
Okay, Aaron Jones. I'm alarmed at the indication episode 8 will be exactly where Force Awakens ended. And the common belief. To me, this represents a fundamental misunderstanding of Star Wars. My belief is that Star Wars films should start in the middle of something, or at least with a mission underway, and none of the previous films have started exactly where the one before had ended. It won't go over these. You can...
That's probably right.
I'll also add the Clone Wars would often start in the middle of a battle or a mission. Perhaps the new owners of Star Wars don't share the belief. That's actually a very old classical technique. The Odyssey and the Iliad start in the middle of action. It's called in medias res.
But then we kind of we started.
That's the sort of quality you get on this show.
Also, Tsum Tsums.
A bit of both, isn't it?
Yeah,
cater for both.
It's good. But Force Awakens started in the middle of something. Really, it just feels like it's beginning of something because we hadn't seen any of those people for a long time. It'd be like, if you think about it, they're bang in the middle of trying to find Luke, like trying to do different stuff. Like they haven't built their. I think Starkiller base like in the first hour of the film.
Like Ken, the idea that episode 8 will be directly on that mountainside,
but we don't know.
Could be a jump in time.
Yeah, could be a massive jump in time. Could be in the middle of her training, and I absolutely think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna carry on straight away.
Yeah.
Like, although you never know.
He's like, no, I can't train you, and then she helps him get some onions out of a van.
That better not happen. Anyway, this is Ben Frey, also someone who's worried. His name's Jacob from Mississippi, but he's got an email address that's got Ben Frey in it. So you've confused me. Well done, Jacob or Ben.
He's made you look like a tit.
Right mug there. Right mug me off. Anyway, I would love your thoughts on oversaturation of the Star Wars franchise. Between 2015 and 2020, we will get 6 Star Wars films in all, and I'm worried that too many movies too close together could kill the hype machine. The excitement was so strong for both Episode 1 and Episode 7 because we had to wait so long between trilogies, and when a trilogy ended, we honestly didn't know if we'd ever get another Star Wars movie. If this feeling goes away, won't the novelty and excitement cease as well? Maybe. Next question. No, possibly.
It's
like
double-edged sword. Like, it's awesome we're getting more Star Wars, but inevitably, do you still? I don't know. Like, look at. I know I bang on with Marvel, but I think it's a good comparison. They're putting out multiple films a year, and they're owned by Disney, so they'll probably have similar strategic thinking. Am I any less excited about Civil War? No,
I think you get like some people who are just like, oh, I'm so sick of
I think some people
Are
definitely
you?
will be.
Yeah.
Like, our boss is sick of all the Marvel films. He feels it's like too much. And you will get those people, but as a Marvel fan, I'm just as excited about Civil War than I was Iron Man.
I just kind of think like, I don't understand how you could be sick of them, to be honest. Like, if they were all absolute dog plop, then fair enough. And like, to be honest, like for the 2 Avengers films, I don't really care that much for them. Like, I think they're all right films, but I'm more excited for the Fast and Furious. No, I am, but like with stuff like Iron Man 3, if I'm really excited about that character still, and I just think if you're not that interested, just don't watch it. But I can see how people are fatigued by it. It just constantly seems like...
I think it's more fear as well.
Yeah.
Like, because of everything else as well. Because we're not just talking about films, we're talking about all the other bits and bobs.
They ain't going to do it unless they got a good reason to do it, I don't think. I would have thought.
Money as well.
Money. The old rope.
The almighty dollar. Bunts.
Go on.
Okay, this is from Pete Fellows, who is from Leeds, but he also lived in Australia and the US. So, travelled. A couple of weeks ago, you were talking about Rey and how she's changing the perception of what little girls can be other than princesses, which is absolutely great, and how finally maybe the toy manufacturers are beginning to catch on. I mentioned it in passing to my 4-year-old daughter, Harper, awesome name, who happened to have a Rey outfit lying around, so she wanted me to help you with your request. Unfortunately, we don't have a blue lightsaber, so we've had to upgrade her to a green one, which I'm sure Rey will get by the episode 9 in any case.
I
she
want to
says
watch some
picture, and she looks awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. This is from Tom Wells, who says, just watched a recent episode of Rebels Base, and you had a discussion about who is going to die in episode 8. I think, or hope, that you're both wrong. We very frequently are, saying that nobody will die. I want to see Snoke die. I think it would be awesome to turn the tables on the bad guy situation from the original trilogy. And then he goes on to say that he really thinks that rather than having this big sort of bad overseeing everything like we have seen, what'll happen is he'll die and then Kylo Ren will be the big bad. He's like a new evil that we haven't seen before. I don't know, I'm not really that connected to Snoke yet.
Yeah, I think
I'd rather be really
there's
connected
too
to him,
much unknown about him. Also, it's I really don't know which way the Kylo thing goes.
Yeah.
Whether he, given the events of what happened in the last film with Han, is he now irredeemable? Is that act the thing that kind of, is it the last straw that gets does he no longer have a call to the light after that? That's the thing that crushed it.
Yeah, there's some we've talked about it a while back, and I saw Jared, our US guy, did a Star Wars theory thing about whether or not Kylo Ren's a sleeper agent, and I kind of like that idea as well. But that's I don't know.
I just think it's usually the simplest explanation is the one that's most true.
Hopefully,
Occam's razor.
Hopefully, it's an explanation that we haven't thought of.
Yeah,
that's the one that's true.
I think we need to learn more about Snoke.
Yeah.
First, I think before
I care that he gets killed.
Yeah.
What's he really done? Shouted a bit, being a hologram. You can't die just for that. That's not on, is it? Right. What else you got?
There's not many reasons people should die.
I don't know. I can think, there's people, but you must think this every day, if I see someone do something mean, if they died, that's me, I'm alright with it.
I don't know if I do think like that.
Don't you?
No, I don't think I do.
Whenever I see someone acting a dick, right, there's a guy who on the train that I used to get, right, there's a guy who every morning, no matter how full the train was, he would get on and literally as the doors were open, he would say, "Can you move down a bit, please?" And he would barge his way in, and doesn't matter who was down there, he would barge his way in. And go,
I'm not
even if the train was completely full. I even think if the train was empty, he would still say, "Can you move down a bit, please?" And I thought to myself a couple of times when he's been right in my face and barging me, I've thought to myself, "Do you know what? If you weren't in this world, I wouldn't care." So that's a reason that someone should die.
I don't think it's enough reason for him to die. About? Well, you're on about not caring if this man died on the tube.
So this guy is the same as Snoke, and therefore, death.
Maybe we'll find out that Snoke was always trying to you move down, please.
That's how it starts.
That's how he got scarred. Face caught in the doors.
Final bit of feedback for this week then, from James Singleton from Boston. The shit one in Lincolnshire. He said that. No, I didn't say that. I only just
You've said that word twice already.
He said it. What, Lincolnshire?
You know what?
I have a 6-year-old daughter who's ready to take her first steps in the Star Wars universe. My question is, what are your thoughts on the best way to introduce her to it? Traditionalists say you would say A New Hope, but in reality, The Phantom Menace is probably more accessible to children with the pod racing scenes, etc. Or is Rebels the way to go? Maybe even starting with Disney Infinity playsets before moving on to the films. I'm going to say, Rebels. If I was a little kid watching Rebels every week, I would go mad for that.
Also, there's a young kid as the main character. I think that's a good way in, and it doesn't first season doesn't really spoil much else for them.
No, not really.
It kind of introduces a few characters later on,
but
not in a way that it actually might not be more satisfying for them to see them in the films.
Yeah, because the way that Vader now is introduced is not in a way that you just go, oh, and he doesn't come in and then go, oh, by the way, in a couple of years' time, this is going to happen with my kid and stuff.
I think. Maybe show them some of that to get not the whole season. Maybe some episodes get their interest because they're short as well.
Get their attention,
and then bang on New Hope on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
with put the pajamas on. Put the pajamas on the radiator. Get them warm.
Boom.
Pajamas, New Hope, bed.
Look at all the stuff we've covered this week. Like,
excellent parenting techniques. Give them a sum-sum.
Give them a sum-sum. Like, we've covered loads of stuff. How to get your kids into Star Wars. Like, what Episode 8 is going to be called. Who should die. People
in general.
People in trains. If you want any of your Star Wars or other questions answered, let us know. rebelbase@ign.com. For everything else Star Wars, keep it right here on IGN.